Yes, and welcome viewers to Lexington, Ohio for the Skip Barber M&L. What a fantastic night it is. Always good to be here on a Monday night for the races. Always look forward to these guys in the top split get out there and show their stuff. And tonight will be no exception in this beautiful track. I've watched a couple of races so far and the action's been fantastic.
Yeah, it certainly has, Tim. Sorry, folks at home, you missed the complete intro. I've had a week off and I forgot to introduce it. I forgot to turn the microphone on. So there you go, folks. We are here once again for great Monday Night Lights action here at Mid-Ohio tonight for round 4 of this season 13. Plenty of good drivers out on track. Once again, we've got young Bill Fraser there joining us all the way from the UK and Ireland Club, of course, last season's champion. And he's had an up and down start to the season, not taking out all the races as we've come to expect, but certainly driving pretty well as well. Oh my goodness, I've got one, Mr. Tim Hendrickson, who's decided to put on a bit of a display tonight with a specially chosen livery by the looks. I know he was talking about doing something special, but I don't know if you can see that, Tim. But yeah, certainly one for the folks at home.
Yes, what a very interesting livery that he's running. And I've noticed someone else is running that livery as well. Mr. John Scholz has got that livery as well. So great night to have a change of livery for the drivers.
Yeah, that's it. And a great night of racing ahead, of course. We see Enzo Cantor out on track again tonight. He's, of course, a former winner of this season, the Monday Night Lights season, and the official iRacing season as well. Only car number 5 here tonight, folks. The cars are numbered in order of their seating and their ranking on the iRacing service. The iRating is what determines the overall skill level of each driver as per their results, and those skill levels or the I ratings are combined to give us roughly the average of those will be roughly the strength of field tonight. And tonight's strength of field for those interested at home is around 3,400 on the nose, which is once again right up there with the top races of the week. There was a killer race during the week, Tim, 4,600, which has been unheard of for quite some time with the skips. And but tonight we've got the second highest at 3,400. It's a bit off that pace, it has to be said, but certainly still looking forward to some great on-track action.
Yeah, 4,600. Well, that's an amazing soft. But yeah, look, tonight with the 3,400, we've got the best drivers out there. I'd say we've got a good pack of drivers, and with Enzo leading the way in qualifying, and we've got Ian Bevan, who we've only just seen that return back to the skippies, and he's back up there in the high qualifications. He's third at the moment because our mate in Bill Fraser, he's pipped in them all, and he's taking line honours so far. And just a bit further down the order, good to see that John Scholt's there for Venom, and now Simon Dopp, a new Venom member, is in there at 11th position.
Yeah, great work from Simon there, as you say, representing Team Venom. I've just a closer look at the livery, mate. I don't know if you've had a good look at it there, but yeah, shout out to the guys. There's a few of them out there who certainly seem to enjoy our work here on a Monday night. Even if we try to have a bit of fun, they're along for the ride anyway. There you go.
I need to go and have a look at this livery now.
All right, folks. So, Quali's got about just over 2 minutes to run. We can see Enzo Cantor right up there on top. He's still out there. He looks like he's done his 2 laps. Might just be still getting some time out there on track, running through the around China Beach now into the Esses section, and just coming through now through Thunder Valley and round into the tail end of this lap, this what would be a cool down lap. Great to see Tim Gorkrotch, who's normally here with us on a Monday night on any given week, along with you and me. Tim, I know he only bought the track this week because we were talking about it, and he's done one time trial, and yet he's right up there with the best of them. Bill Fraser now jumping up to a provisionally P1, and as this session starts to wind down, Tim.
Yeah, it's amazing to see a driver like Timmy G, who would normally be up here in the commentary booth, just get out there, purchase a track, do some laps, and set a marvelous time. Just shows how good of a driver he is in the Skip Barbers. It's really good to see the qualifying tonight. We've got the top. Just having a look now, it looks like the top 11 all in the 135. So, and then the remaining drivers in the 136s. So we're very close on times tonight. Really good to see.
Yeah, absolutely right. In fact, the top 11 drivers all within a second. In fact, just over 7 tenths separating all the way down to Simon Dopp in 11th, with Russell Clark from Team Milo just over that 1 second mark, showing that there's plenty to play for here tonight, and the guys are ready to do so, because the top 12 positions here, of course, score points in our Monday Night Lights Championship. Speaking of the points in the Monday Night Lights, just having a quick look, if I can pull them up there. Leading the way at the moment is Mr. Tim Hendrickson, who provisionally is only down in 5th position, perhaps spent too much time on in trading paints and not enough time on track, although I've seen him around here. He's been pretty quick. So Luke Witten making a welcome return to the season, although I don't see him here tonight. Perhaps he doesn't have this track in P2, with Simon Dopp for Team Venom, quite often in the second split, elevated to the top split tonight in P3. Brad Parkin similarly often in the second split. He's in the top split again tonight. And Ben Snell rounding out the top 5 as quali. Comes to a close now. We might just run through the grid before the race gets underway. Lining up tonight for round 4 here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course is number 3, Bill Fraser, sitting in P1 all the way from UK and I, as we said. Enzo Cantor, another of the Europeans, joining us here tonight in P2. Tim Gorkrocher leading the ANZ Club charge in P3, with Ian Bevan similarly in P4. Heading over to P5, we have Mr. Hendrickson, who is, of course, as we just saw, leading the MNL Championship, with Benjamin Whitaker, another local boy. He's in P6. P7 is Ben Snell. P8 is Kevin Henderson, who, like Jason Willman, who we'll see a bit later, has been in nearly every event we've had for Monday Night Lights since its inception. John Scholtz for Team Venom Racing in P9. Håkon Grebstad for Team Ovaltine in P10. Surprising to see Håkon so far down the order, although his qualification hasn't been so strong so far this season. P11 is Simon Dopp, another Team Venom driver. Russell Clark, another Team Milo racer. The first and only Team Milo racer in P12. Jumping down to P13, Brad Parkin from the ANZ Club. Angel Garcia Guti in P14, all the way from Iberia. P15, Mick Grade, another stalwart of the club here out tonight. And Simon D. Chambers, he's in P16. Great to see Simon not only on the grid, but in the top split as well. Jason Willman, not setting a time tonight, which is often the case for Jason. He's all the way down in P17 as we start counting down towards what should be a great race tonight, Tim.
Yeah, looking forward to a fantastic race, and it's good to see Simon Chambers up in the top split tonight. And it just shows, really drive hard in those second splits, get that I rating up there, and you're always a chance to get in. So no, that's really good to see him. It looks like we're just about to get underway.
Yes, we are, as the guys are getting ready to take off now, and the green lights, and they're all away as the cars drive down towards turn 1 now. Fantastic shot now as we come down into turn 1. Bill Fraser leading the way as this field streaks through this wide sweeping turn 1, heading up the front straight now into the keyhole for the first time, Tim.
Yes, the keyhole being turn number 2 tonight, and then we'll head along the back straight. And it looks like we've got off to a clean start. All the drivers just trying to find their position through the keyhole now, and it looks quite good. I'm a bit confused by all the liveries, because it seems like we've got 5 of the same livery tonight, so it's going to be very challenging to pick the cars out like we normally would. But we'll give it a go. And as they head up into China Beach now, it looks like Enzo's just taking the lead over Bill Fraser.
Yeah, those two out in front. Familiar story from weeks gone by this season. It'll be interesting to see what they can do. Ranked car numbers 5 and 3 tonight, which is interesting. Both of them have got plenty of pace in these cars, as we know. And looking forward to a great battle there. Just tucked in behind them now is Tim Gorkrocher, who's held station really in P3, and he's got Tim Hendrickson, who's up one spot over Ian Bevan, who's sitting in P5. Tim Hendrickson looking to charge his way through this field as we can, as we see Gorkrotcher poking the nose up the inside of Fraser. Really looking forward to that battle. I know Tim Gorkrotcher's been itching to have a crack at Bill, who's been coming up, shooting a rising star, as it were, through the Skippy ranks in the last season or so. And Tim, meanwhile, has been warming his seat in the commentary booth here with you and I on a Monday night, and really looking forward to see how he shapes up against Bill.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. He's just got it a little bit wide as he goes through turn one. They had the tail hanging out there. That's giving Tim Hendrickson the opportunity to go out on the outside as they come up towards the keyhole. I think he just needs to just slow it down a little bit, get those lines right, and then they need to hold on to this draft. It's important that both Timmy G and Tim Hendrickson don't battle too much and lose the front two drivers.
Yeah, you're spot on there. Look at there's three of the fantastic supportive livery in a row, making it a bit tougher. As Hendrickson looking on the outside as they head down to China Beach now, and he's tucked it. China Beach, of course, named after the big sand trap on the left there that you can see as the drivers go through. Now, 2x2, they head through the S's now. Very challenging undulations and trying to find the apex. Oh, there's contact there between Hendrickson and Henderson. They seem to have gotten away okay. Of course, the tyranny of distance here in internet racing will have not helped them there. A bit of netco potentially. Both of them seem to drive okay. Don't see any damage at this stage, Tim, but the elbows are certainly out early on.
Oh, look, what we thought what we didn't want to happen has happened. And yeah, I'm looking at the cars now. They seem to look fine. Timmy G's sort of driven away from it and seems fine. No real damage. Tim Hendrickson back there doesn't look like he's got any damage as well. But that's really just opening up the door for Ian Bevan and the fighting that's going on at the moment in that position, third and fourth. Ian Bevan's just sitting off the back, and along with him, Ben Snell. So we've got a bit of a train there in second through to fourth. And with that, they're allowing Bill Fraser and Enzo just to drive away a little bit.
Yeah, as the cones go flying behind this leading back as one of our drivers takes out the safety cones in the background. Ben Snell, another one running the all-star livery on there. He's tucked right in behind Ian Bevan. Interesting to see. Those two have had a bit of a coming together, if I recall correctly, maybe at Mosport, although I know Ben had certainly an adventurous race there, and Ian was able to drive through the field pretty well. So interesting to see how those two go. Ben certainly known to give everything he's got, and he's right on this pack here. Once again, Monday Night Lights bringing out the best in a whole bunch of races, and we see nose-to-tail action. None of the drivers separated by more than about half a second, all the way down to Angel Garcia Guti in P12, who's 1.6 seconds off this lead pack, but there's still plenty of time to catch up as we see these three cars led by Hendrickson with Snell on the rear, nose to tail. Hard to pick them apart, not only because they're running the same livery, but because they're so close together through this final section now as they come through round the carousel on the tail end of lap 3, Tim.
Yes, these liveries are making it very hard. We're going to have to put a ban on the liveries, and if they can just go back to their standard running liveries, it would make life a little bit easier. But look, it's a very, very close battle, and it's good to see. I'm looking at right down to 17th. We're only 15 seconds off the lead, so it's good to see that all the drivers have got through 4 laps at the moment unscathed, and we're having a nice, clean race. And as we lead up to this lead pack, they've all caught back onto Enzo and Bill Fraser now. So this train is really going to be hanging in there for laps to come.
Yeah, Enzo taking the defensive line up the back straight now as they head down into turn 4 at China Beach once again. He can defend through here, which is Enzo's doing, but it does leave Bill Fraser with the inside running into turn 5 on the downhill approach into turn 6. As you see, he takes the inside line, but then Enzo's got the opportunity to return serve here as they go through the S's now. He's got the inside running for the next corner, and see, hey, Gorkrotcher there poking his nose up side by side. No, he tucks in behind as they head up to turn 9 now and into the wonderfully named Thunder Valley, Tim.
Yeah, as we come through Thunder Valley, I think Tim Gorkrotcher is really playing a sensible game here. He's just sitting back off the tail of Bill Fraser and Enzo, and just seeing if any mistakes come ahead of him, and he can easily take that advantage and drive by. But in doing so, while they're battling at the front and he's just staying off, we've got the likes of Tim Hendrickson just hanging on there, as well as Ian Bevan and Ben Snell, and even Håkon Grebstad, who, for Håkon, he's up 3 positions so far. He's our biggest mover in the race, and it's good to see him up there. We normally see him near the pointy end, but he's hanging out there in what is it, 7th position, but still holding on to this pack and doing quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, I was focused on Hendrickson then as you called his name, and he disappeared for a good 5 seconds. That'll be unnerving for the cars around him, no doubt. Of course, Tim's streaming tonight. If you're interested in seeing a cockpit view, folks, head over to Osmia on Twitch TV. That's OSMIA. He's sporting the fantastic livery of the night, as we see once again Enzo defending from Bill Fraser on the outside as they head through turn 4 once again, around turn 5 now, around the outside of China Beach now, through into turn 6 in the S's now. Fraser poking his nose up the inside, using all the track there and the curbs there. Fantastic driving once again. Look at this snaking field. Once again, all nose to tail. The top, what have we got? The top 7 cars trailed by Håkon Grebstad at the end, all vying. Oh, is Gorkrotcher once again, the rear steps out. He's now got 2x2 behind him as they try and sort themselves out, heading into the carousel now on the tail end of lap 5. What a great catch that was, Tim.
Yeah, what an amazing drive. I think he might have just had a little bit of a touch on the rear by Tim Hendrickson then, but it just shows the control of that car. He's held it, he was on the grass in a bit of a slide, but he's held onto it, and it's quite great and really good driving. And as we come now into we're into lap 6, and it's just they're letting Enzo and Bill Fraser. I know that they can keep them with the draft, but they're just creeping out a little bit again, and it's that little battle that's going on behind them, which is just keeping that gap there. And I think Tim Hendrickson and Timmy G really need just play the sensible game here and hold on to the leaders into the dying stages of this race. We're very early on in the race now, and to be fighting like that is not doing him any favours.
No, just watching on board with Bill Fraser now. Oh, late move there to cover off. I suppose he didn't really pull out. In fact, I think I heard him lifting there briefly as they head around China Beach on lap 6, as we say. Bill giving the rear of the car its freedom there. Ducking down now through the S's. This, again, undulating, challenging section of the car. You're searching for grip, trying to find the suspension and where it takes through these corners. The up and downhill here, once again testing the drivers. Very hard to find grip as they head through this tight right-hander at turn 9 now, through Thunder Valley on the tail end of lap 6 now. Great onboard shots once again from Bill Fraser, Tim.
Oh, it's an amazing race. It's always good when you've got the top 4, 5 drivers really battling for position, and tonight we're gifted to have the top 7 drivers all sticking together, and it's a great race. And if we just look a bit further down, I mean, we've got to give mention to some of the drivers behind there. I see we've got Kevin Henderson, John Scholz, Benjamin Whittaker and Russell Clark all just grouping together as well, and they're just holding on to in their own little race pack there, but that's quite a good race there, just knowing that the 4 guys are trying to bring it back to Håkon Grebstad, who's in 7th position.
Yeah, absolutely. These 4 running nose to tail, just like the leaders, and just hoping, beyond hope, that they can bridge that 2.2 second gap. And with all the action up front, as we see Bill Fraser jump out to the side, down the main back straight again, all the while they're hoping that they can get back on with the battling up in front. As we jump back up to the front, Bill Fraser left out to the outside once again as they head through turn 4, through turn 5 now, around China Beach, and ducking down into the S's once again, this time on lap 7. Nose to tail all the way down to P7. Fraser showing his karting experience there, letting the rear do its dance once again through this twisty section out the back now as they head over through turn 9 now into Thunder Valley once again.
Yeah, look, and just as we were going through China Beach, it looked like Bill Fraser had just a quick hit on the Enzo's the rear wing, but it looks all in good nick there. There's no damage, it seems, to the car, but he just did tap him as they went through that area. And as we come along the start finish line again for now into the eighth lap. We've got Bill Fraser and sorry Enzo Cantona just with a slight gap over Bill Fraser, and Bill's really hanging that car out. That control is amazing, and as we come up the straight to the keyhole, we're still we're still 4 or 5 cars deep now, and it looks like Håkon Grebsted's decided to make his move.
Yeah, let's hop on board with Hawkon now. He's down in P7. He's now side by side with Ben Snell. They're not teammates. They might look like it tonight as they head down the back straight, but side by side. And once again, we're going to see the car on the outside into turn 4 at the end of this longest straight on the circuit. He's going to be just tucking back inside as once again side by side up ahead of them. Bill Fraser now tucking behind Enzo this lap. He's decided discretion's a better part of valour and tucked him behind to see that he can't push his claim further as they come through very difficultly. Camera angle there. Sorry, folks, catching the trees there. Come through this tight, windy section at the end now. Up over the top now into Thunder Valley once again. Again, searching for every bit of track and more as they can over that rise and then chase each other down through on the approach to the carousel. Tough left-hander here. You in between gears depending on which way you want to go with it. Bill Fraser cutting to the outside, looking for the under over there. Enzo driving really solid defensive lines, really not compromising too much on speed and holding off the hard-charging Bill Fraser for yet another lap as we are 7 deep still at this stage of the race, Tim, as we start out on lap 9.
Oh, what an amazing race to have 7 deep after 9 laps or 8 laps completed, and we're on the ninth, and it just shows how good these races are, and in that tight racing where they're keen, they don't touch each other, they're keeping that gap that they need to. And as we head around the keyhole, it looks like now, I think if Bill Fraser might be on the outside, it looks like Bill's just taken the lead. And that's opened the door for Timmy G. Where's he going to go? I hope he doesn't go 3 wide. He's looking for the right line, but it looks like Enzo will just hold the line on as they go into China Beach. But Tim Hendrickson trying to make a move on the inside. That's going to play in the favour of Timmy G as they head around China Beach. Oh, it's action-packed as we go around through the S's, and we make our way up into Thunder Valley. And an amazing race, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. We just lost Ian Bevan as they went towards China. He's blown his engine on the downshift, if you can believe it, at the end of that big straight. Just let go on him, and unfortunately for Ian, that's his competitive night over.
Wow, that's very interesting tonight to be doing that. But look, action-packed race, anything is possible, and we do know the skip barbers are prone to blowing those motors if you either stay in the draft too long and get those engine temperatures up, or downshift too quickly. And I think obviously he's paid that price tonight.
Yeah, 100%. There was so much action there. I just caught him in the background, thought I'd duck to. Oh, Bill Fraser once again running wide and using every bit of the track and more as once again the safety cones copper flogging there from Ben Snell this time. It looks like Hendrickson's made his move. He's got a bit of rear wing damage. I don't know if that's coming together with Gorkrotcher there, but those two really looking now to get the bit between their teeth and catch on to the two up front. It looks like after defending inside and out last lap, Enzo still maintained this lead, forcing Bill Fraser to the outside. I tell you what, this battling that they're doing is really keeping the chasing pack of 4 now in this race. Once again, 2 wide through turn 4, challenging enough corner as it is with the off-camber nature of it, the undulations. Enzo once again holding out a very hard charging Bill Fraser. These guys putting on a fantastic show here tonight, really quality driving. I haven't seen anything by way of too much contact here. Bill Fraser ducking. Oh, look at him. He's not quite cutting the corner. I don't know if there's a slowdown there or not. He certainly had 2 wheels on the grass. But, speaking of 2 wheels on the grass, Hendrickson letting it all hang out behind him in an attempt to get back on here and hold off Gorkwatch at the same time. These guys putting on a real show, Tim.
Oh, it's action-packed tonight, and it's good to see. It's good to see when you've got great racing, but you also have those battles that are either for first, second, or third, fourth, and that's what we've got tonight. And it's all the way down to sixth position now, with the Enzo, Bill Fraser, Tim Hendrickson, Timmy Grawkocher, Ben Snell, and Håkon Grebsted. As we come around onto lap 11, we've still got the great battle of Enzo and Bill Fraser. And I think that's going to be the battle for the night. And I think what we're going to see is those two are definitely going to hold first and second, in my opinion. But it depends if Tim Hendrickson is willing to really fight hard and get back up on the pack there and not overdrive it tonight, Alex.
Yeah, look, it'll be interesting to see where this one goes. I mean, it's these two who seem to have had the race relatively at their disposal, so to speak. It's going to be whether or not they can continue this good display and not take each other out as they come down now past China Beach once again, around the tight left-hander now over the hill down into into the Esser section now. Again, we still got this pack of six now, nose to tail, side by side in many occasions, and they're putting on such a great show of what Skippy Racing is all about. This tight-knit action, tight-knit community too, it has to be said, and a lot of fun at the same time, folks. So if you're interested in having a bit of fun on track, make sure you join us here each and every week for Monday Night Lights, but also get yourself out on track. Get yourself behind the wheel of Skip Barber. Races every hour. They're often jam-packed. Well, they're always jam-packed, full of official racing during the week, and you get to see this sort of racing. They're not the quickest cars going around, as we see once again Fraser tucked right up in between. He's going to have a look up the inside now into turn one. This could be his best opportunity of the race, folks, as we take a slightly wider shot there. Enzo, he's forced Enzo right out to the side. Hendrickson looking to get involved here as they go three wide up the front straight here, Tim, into the keyhole now. Enzo's held the outside all the way around turn one to get the inside through the keyhole and up the back straight now. Hendrickson looking to get involved once again, making it three wide. They've let him do it. Can they get away with that? Look at Grawkocher in the background, sniffing for any opportunity he could get. Hendrickson on the charge. Grawkocher with the run, but nowhere to go as they come down into turn four once again on the approach to China Beach. Looks like, can you believe it? Enzo might get this defended again. The big mover there is Hendrickson, who's got past Fraser in all of that. But once again, Enzo with a fantastic display of defensive driving. He's set up the defence of that lap all the way back at turn one, if you can believe it, as they now head down, up to turn 9 and into Thunder Valley on the tail lap of lap 12 as we see Hendrickson run very wide there. And once again, too wide with Bill Fraser, who's looking to come back for his spot at the title, Tim.
Oh, can you believe it? Three wide as they went down that back straight. But you're right, Enzo's display of driving a Skip Barber there and taking that defensive line was so well done. He didn't have the speed on the back straight, but he just held it in there and like a side draft more than anything, and was able to hold Tim Hendrickson off there, and now we've got Bill Fraser back into second position. So we regain the order in the race with Enzo at first, and then Bill Fraser in second position. But this is really becoming a great race, and it hasn't quite brought Kevin Henderson and John Scholz back into the race, but they're only 3 seconds behind this lead pack of six, and with only two laps remaining, or we're on the 3 laps remaining. Have they got enough to be able to bring this into an 8-car train?
Well, wouldn't that be a great finish as we see the front pack now? Almost line astern, although we've got Håkon and Håkon Grebstad and Tim Grawkocher shuffled all the way back to P5 and 6 respectively. Side by side they go through the undulating section out the back past China Beach now, and fall back line astern with Tim Grawkocher making that move stick and holding on to P5 now as we jump back up the front. We've got, once again, Enzo, car number 5 tonight. Surprising to see Enzo with car plate number 5, holding off the hard-charging Bill Fraser. Hendrickson sitting in P3 now. They've had history here this week in the big super soft that we were talking about earlier. Hendrickson a little bit disgruntled at having been taken out of his shot at the podium there in that race with an incident with Fraser. But interesting to see if that can how that carries out here tonight. As his front three now, or front five, I should say, across the line with just now the 2 laps remaining. They take a tight line there, as you would expect through turn 1, and track all the way out. And it's the cones once again copying a flogging as they do pretty much every lap around here. 2 wide once again. Enzo taking the defensive line here through turn 2 at the keyhole. Looks like Hendrickson poking his nose up the inside but not getting the run through there. This is the longest straight on the track. Very important corner of the keyhole. Once again, Enzo taking the tighter line defensive, which sets him up to defend all the way through this series of corners, depending on how effective Fraser can be with this side draft. But coming down here into turn 4, on the outside line, you really, 2 by 2, it's very, very hard to get by there, as we've seen time and time again. Enzo driving really well here in terms of his defence of P1 there, with this train of cars kept in it right throughout the race despite all the battling they've been doing to him.
Yeah, it's quite amazing, and it's interesting just to see Tim Hendrickson hang off the back there in the 3rd position. I know he's keen to get past them, and he really wants to, but I think he's playing the wise move and just sitting in behind him and using that keyhole corner onto the back straight. That's going to be his opportunity to get this race won if he wants to be there. But the way Enzo's driving tonight with those real defensive manoeuvres, it just makes me think that Enzo can hold on to this race as we come now through onto the start-finish line for another fantastic lap. And we are on the last lap, folks. This is the penultimate lap. And can we get it done? Can we find a winner tonight that's going to be is it someone in first, either an Enzo, or is it going to be someone like Ben Snell?
Yeah, the surrender flag is out, folks. Once again, Enzo taking the defensive line through there. Fraser. Oh, look at Ben Snell. We haven't called his name much tonight, but gee, he went every which way but loose there. Perhaps he had Clyde in the passenger seat. We've got Enzo now sticking to his inside line that we're familiar with throughout this race. He's got Hendrickson right on his tail, trying to extract every bit of draft. Still maintain that lead position there. Fraser once again left to the outside. Hendrickson closes right up on the tailpipe there. 2 by 2 they go once again over that rise on the tail end of China Beach now as they approach the S's now on this final lap. Another engine's gone. That was Snell. Snell once again. Oh no, it was Hendrickson. I beg your pardon, Hendrickson. He's gone with an engine. By the looks, or was it Snell? I'll have to go back and have a look in a minute as we close out this race. That's set the cat amongst the pigeons. We've got Fraser now right on the tail of Enzo here as we come to the closing stages now. Through this penultimate corner now into the carousel. Oh, there's contact! He's been hit in the rear by Fraser. Fraser's kept his foot in it. Enzo's wiggling, but not the kind of wiggling we're used to seeing here as Fraser comes across the line. And we see who's that? Cantor hung on. No, Gorkrotch has got through for second there. And Enzo's, he's come quietly to a stop post-race there, Tim. But I think I might have to go back and have another look at that one. What do you reckon?
Oh, definitely have a look at that. Geez, such a shame. Such a tight race. And for all to come down to a little tap as we came in around the carousel.
Yeah, I might just try and duck a bit further back, folks. Who am I on board with here? Enzo. I really need Bill Fraser. Let's see what happens here. We're on board with Bill Fraser at the moment. Let's see what he's got to offer through here. We'll slow it down. Enzo losing the rear a little bit. Not enough. It just cost him a bit of speed, and there's a bit of contact there as a result, and we can just see he's got into him. So I know Enzo won't be happy with that. He was a little bit wide there, and it cost him a bit of pace as we see the view from Tim Gorkrotcher, who at this point would have been jeering, seeing what's going on in front of him. Interestingly, Fraser kept his boot in it as much as he could, and the guys in front have almost come together again. I might just try and grab a bit of a better view of that one to finish out. Enzo really struggling to hold on to that towards the end of the race, and he's done pretty well to finish third, to be honest, because Gorkrotcher had a pretty clear run to the line with Håkon Grebstad as well. I'm also going to have to go back and see what happened to Hendrickson there in a moment too. We can just see Gorkrocher running outside Enzo there on the outside on the approach to the line and snagging a tough second place from what I can tell, unless Enzo's hung on. I don't think he has.
Oh, and I think he has. I
He
think
has,
I'm just
yeah.
looking at JRT. It looks like it's updated again. We've got Enzo in second.
Well, how about this? How about we whoops, we grab the results and let's see what they actually said at the end of it. All right, folks. As we, I'll just hide that one and do the results. Round 4, Mid-Ohio Sports. I'll tell you what, that was hard to keep up with. Bill Fraser taking a controversial win here at Mid-Ohio for round 4 with that fantastic display of driving throughout by all concerned. Just brought a little bit unstuck through the pressures of the closing stages, but Bill Fraser hanging on for his I think it's his second first position of this season. Enzo Cantor unlucky in P2. I'm no doubt he'll be very disappointed with that result after once again putting on quite an amazing display of defensive driving, I thought, and leading almost from flag to flag. Tim Gorkrocher started in P3 and finished there as well. A little bit lucky having been shuffled a bit through the deck during the race and almost took advantage of that last lap incident there. Håkon Grebstad, if you can believe it, up 6 positions, been really struggling with qualifying in these events lately and drove his way up to 4th. Ben Snell similarly 8 positions. Oh, I beg your pardon, 2 positions up the grid. Oh, I checked his car number there by mistake. In P5, great drive from Ben tonight. Great to see him finish intact as well. Kevin Henderson, a great result from him. He's up a couple of spots as well in P6. Good drive, Hendo. John Skoltz, first of the Team Venom drivers in P7. Congratulations to him. Benjamin Whitaker, who I think we've seen here before in Monday Night Lights, but certainly not for some time, in P8. Russell Clark for Team Milo in P9. Simon Dopp, a great drive in the top split tonight to finish in P10. Another Team Venom racer. Brad Parkin in P11, a welcome addition to the top split tonight. Jason Willman, who of course didn't set a qualifying time, still managed to grab some MNL points tonight in the final Monday Night Light scoring position in P12. Mick Gray, he's how did Mick go tonight? Up a couple of positions into 13th position tonight. Angel Garcia Guti in P14. Simon Chambers, I think, had a visit to the pits tonight. Yes, he did. Must have picked up some damage. An unfortunate night for him. Not often we see Simon in the top split, particularly in such a high strength of field. So unfortunate run for him tonight, but still great to see him out there competing. Ian Bevan, who I think, if I'm not mistaken, blew his engine. Yeah, he did on the way down into turn 4. Quick downshift cost him there. And similarly, he's in P16. And similarly, I think Hendrickson did blow his engine there tonight, Tim, in the closing stages. If I get a chance, I'll go back and have a look at that one. But I'll tell you what, there's a hatful of interesting results there for you.
Yeah, no, that was very interesting, and that last minute blowing of the motor by Tim Hendrickson really shuffled the pack, and but just I'm reading a lot of the chat that's going on in the race. Maybe I shouldn't be, and that maneuver in the carousel, I think it's a bit of a shame that the race ended like that. It was such good, clean racing all the way through, albeit very, very close, and occasionally the slight touch, but. To see it end with the potentially a spin near the on the carousel is quite a shame. And also, just sorry, I should have had a shout out there to a couple of other drivers. There was Brad Parkin, also a Team Venom member, and Mick Gray as well.
Oh, Mick Gray's
Um,
joined Team Venom. I'll tell you what,
yeah.
is there anyone left not in Team Venom?
Uh,
I'll tell you
my
what.
apologies. I didn't get them all. We would have been here with Venom all night, so I'm sorry about that.
Bit of Venom out on their track tonight, indeed. All right, we've got some people waiting in the green room. We'll do our traditional thing, which is to bring people up in finishing order and have a bit of a chat. Let me just hide that one and I'll find a bit. I think we've got Enzo first up. I'll tell you what, I'm expecting a bit of
Fireworks.
a bit of colour perhaps from Mr. Cantor, but why don't we see what we can find here? All right, where's Mr. Cantor? Enzo, Alex McKellar and Tim Awema here in the Monday Night Lights broadcast booth, mate. Well, can I just say, I thought the racing was intense and, really, really fantastic, particularly in the early stages. But I bet that finish to the race left you quite a bit disappointed there, Enzo.
What I can say, I think obviously I did not watch still the broadcast, but I think you Alex and Tim could say what what needed to describe what happened. Simply in my mind, what happened was that Bill was simply frustrated because he wasn't able to pass me every lap, every corner. And finally, that was a frustrating move. He simply ran over me. He hit me 2 times. He destroyed my rear suspension. But the worst thing is that he simply passed me on the outside, and he didn't give me back the position, because you can do a mistake. But in the last corner, you have to give back the position. He didn't do that, so I think he's a kid. And he have time to grow up and to learn to be a man. But he has to learn soon, because this is a game, but you have to respect other drivers, and that kind of move is very not fair. I think I never seen a thing like that, or very few times I saw things like that.
Yeah, look, can you tell me, you run through the final series of corners there. I called it during the race that I thought you got a little bit loose there and it might have cost you a bit of speed, and he misjudged it. I don't know. I don't think any driver goes out to intentionally hit, but he might have misjudged it as a result, is what I could have called it.
I can describe you exactly. Well, the fact is, the race was incredible, fantastic. I was really happy to battle in that way with the other drivers, and really I was thinking that I will be happy in finishing in every position, even if I could crash my car in the last 2 laps because of my mistake. I will be happy at the same way, because I really was joining this kind of race, because this is the kind of race I like. And every lap, every lap a battle, every corner a battle, really nice and hard racing and clean racing till that. In the last lap, I was thinking that there were no possibilities at all for Bill to pass me again, because you can pass only if the driver in front of you do a big mistake in the last corner. But I was probably a little bit slower than the lap before. But it was very clear from his cockpit. He simply kept the throttle down and hit me 2 times, not 1, 2 times. So he did not try that at all to avoid the contact. Simply he crashed into me, and then he passed me and won the race. So he didn't deserve at all the victory, and I think he cannot be happy with this one, because it's not a fair way to win a race. Simply, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, look, thanks, Enzo. Look, I appreciate your candour as always. I know that when you make a mistake, you're the first man to admit it, to come in and let us know, which is great. And look, I saw it pretty similarly, in so much as in the tension of the last lap of the race, that perhaps got caught out there at the end. And look. I was surprised that there wasn't a bit of a redress there, but that's perhaps something you can take away and look at. So, but onwards and upwards, mate. Thank you once again for joining us here and making what was a fantastic race. Your drive up the front was really a lesson in how to maintain a lead with driving nice, clean lines there, good defensive lines, and setting up the defence of a lap, in turn 2 that saw you all the way through to the final stages of each lap. So it was very fun to watch, mate. Before we let you go, though, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, surely. First of all, thank you for your work as always for the interview. And yeah, I've only the last thing to say because I think I did a block to Bill in the first, probably the sixth or seventh lap in the straight before the beach because simply I thought he was not trying to pass me, so he did that. I blocked him, but simply I thought he was not trying to pass. So that was my, I think, only mistake because I tried to race very clean and leaving every time more than enough room to race side by side safely. And yeah, I have to say thanks to my team, Mivano, Transmaster Mivano, to my team manager Fabio Mattellini, my teammate Sol, and in particular Fahim Antoniades in skip with me. And I hope he will do a great result this evening in the UK and I. And again, I'm happy to make a good show for you, and see you the next week. I wish.
Great. Thanks very much again for joining us, mate, and we'll see you next week. There you have it, folks. Pretty direct and honest as always, I thought, Tim. He calls it as he sees it, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly right. And I know that he loves his racing and he's very passionate about it as always. And it's really good to have Enzo come up in the booth and give us a good rundown of what was his race and really enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Next up, we've got our second place or third place finisher, I should say. Of course, Enzo was second in Mr. Gorecrotcher. Let's see what he's got to say. Good evening, Mr. Gorecrotcher. Welcome to slightly different role in the Top Split TV commentary booth here tonight, mate. That looked like a lot of fun. How was it for you out on track?
It was a nice welcome back to Skip Barbers after a little break. You know, it had been, I don't know, 3 months or so. And it was good. It was a lot of fun. I had a bit of a coming together with Hendrickson, sorry. And I have to apologise to him because it was all on me. I missed the apex by like 2 or 3 car widths. But Netcode saved us both and we carried on, which was good. But it was a lot of fun, you know, close racing and hard to pass though. So a bit of side-by-side stuff and a couple of light contacts, which isn't my usual style, but a new track for me. But yeah, really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, just looking at a couple of the lines there, really nice use of all the track there on exit through turn 2 on this particular lap. But yeah, we saw that contact, and I actually questioned whether the netcode had helped or hindered you there, and it sounds like it helped. What did you make? So we saw a lot of what I thought was pretty good defensive driving from guys in different positions. It felt to me like you could defend a position and set it up, the defence of the lap. I was just saying to Enzo from turn 2, the hairpin at the keyhole there, all the way through to almost at the bottom of the hill through turn 5 past China Beach into turn 6 by the time your defence was done, and then you threw that tight section all the way through to the end of the lap. But did you find, he said it was hard to pass, but were there a lot of tactics out there along those lines?
Yeah, so you're right. Like, if you're leading, it's easy to, or like the straight from turn 1 to 2 isn't long enough for you to really get a run and, and make a move unless you, come out of that corner a tenth behind. But even then, it's still hard to get it done. So, and if you can't get it done at, would it be turn 4, the right-hander, forget it, you're not going to get it done for that lap. So it was interesting, though. I mean, a lot of guys I expect went side by side through 4, 5, 6, and 7 and so on. But really, by the time you get up the hill in that right-hander, you're back to single file and the lap's over more or less. You're not going to pass through that last section. But interestingly, like in front of me tonight while I was in third, it was pretty busy between Enzo and Bill, and I don't think either of them sort of gave each other enough room considering, the internet, so to speak. Because from my position, I saw quite a bit of contact and surprised that I wasn't able to capitalize on that. I thought they'd take each other out because that's sort of what I saw from my position, and I'm sure that displayed similarly on screen for you guys. But yeah, it is what it is. I missed out on second by a couple of thousandth or something like that. It wasn't much in the end. So it was a good fun race.
Yeah, it was pretty tight there at the end. Did you catch much of that last incident?
Not enough to have I didn't watch the replay. I don't have a position on what happened or anything. I was just thinking, hopefully they hit hard enough for me to capitalise and get back to or get into second. But it was pretty close, and I actually thought I had Enzo till I got out of the car and realised that he picked me by, a nose cone sort of thing. So, but yeah, I think the internet was a little bit worse than what we'd normally or what we're used to. But it is what it is, and it was a good, close, fun race, and pleased to have joined in again.
Yeah, excellent. Well, mate, it was great to see you out on track. I know I said during the call I thought you'd been itching to have a crack at Bill Fraser, so hopefully it was all that that you hoped it'd be, and perhaps a podium's a good return at least. But anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go, mate?
Nah, not in particular tonight, but got to thank the top split, of course, yourself and the Golden Stick, Tim Awema. Thanks very much, and hopefully join you next week in the Combox again.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tim. We look forward to seeing you then.
All the best, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. Mr. Gorkrocher there putting on a great display on track instead of the commentary booth this week. It was great to see him out there, Tim. I thought he drove pretty well, all things considered, with a 3-month layoff.
Yeah, he did. And as I said, I thought he might just sit in that third position waiting to see if something would go wrong in front of him, but he just had that gap there, and he couldn't benefit from their misfortune up front. But it was interesting to see that Tim said he would be coming back into the commentary box next week. We'll have to see about that one, but he's very hopeful.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. Well, next on our list, we've got Mr. Grebstad. We'll bring him up and say g'day. Hawkon, welcome to the Top Split TV commentary booth, mate. Well, you're the first of our, what am I going to call it, our special event livery-clad drivers tonight, mate. You seem to have a bit of fun out there, and I think you ended up in P4, if I'm not mistaken, so quite a race for yourself after not the best qualification.
Yeah, no, quality in this track is just a struggle, but had some work in front of me and did all right. Would have liked the podium, though.
Yeah, look, there was a podium on the offer there at the end there with Enzo and Fraser having their moment. But look, we had a pack of 6 or 7 there for most of the race. Plenty of position swaps and side-by-side racing. Looked like it was hard to get a pass out there tonight.
Sure was. With such a long train, you know. Everyone's getting drafted, and it's hard to get the run on anyone. But yeah, we had a good race. Everyone seemed like a few engines going though.
Yeah, I saw a couple of them at the end. Well, one in the middle from Ian, and of course it looked like Mr. Hendrickson at the end there. But look, thanks once again for joining us, mate. Great performance here tonight. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
You guys and everyone that races, of course.
Beautiful. Looks like we got a fair shout out on the cars tonight, so that's that's
yeah.
good. Thanks again, mate. We'll catch you next week. Well, there you go. If you haven't picked up at home what we're talking about with the livery, I'll try and get a bit of a shot here. Hang on. Where's this one? Those wondering at home there, we've got the faces of young Mr. Awema, the Golden Stig, and myself there being sported on the livery of the drivers there tonight in on the joke. So that's a great shout out to us, and we really appreciate it. What do you make of that, Stig?
It's just unbelievable. I should take my face off the internet as soon as possible. They said, I can't believe that someone wanted to spend the time putting my face on the car, but it's good to see, and it's good to see they have a bit of fun with it, and they enjoy getting the cars ready for the M&L and the broadcast race.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we should continue with our finishing order, and I think it's Mr. Snell. We've got a couple to go, and then we'll wind up from there. But Mr. Snell joining us in the commentary booth here for Monday Night Lights with that great paint scheme and the great angry-looking helmet on there, mate. Great to see you finish one tonight and a top 5 position to boot. How'd you find the racing out there?
Yeah, good evening, guys. Yeah, I'm happy just to finish, let's be honest.
Yeah, look, and there was plenty of action out there too. A lot of side by side. Of course, it's hard to get a pass done here, as we've discussed already with a couple of the guys. But it's certainly easy to get a good race. How did you find it in the company out there on track?
Yeah, it was good. I was happy to qualify where I did. To be honest, I didn't have the greatest pace here, but I got to jump on Ben in the first lap, which is the best time to actually try and get a pass, and then just sat in the draft train basically. Let the guys up the front fight, and then unfortunately on the last lap I got involved with the two Tims, and yeah, dropped back to fifth. But yeah, top five is pretty good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, mate. I was saying at one point that I called your name a little bit, but right at the end, I got the surprise of my life. You were right up there in the thick of it, and putting on a nice display through the keyhole at the turn two there at the final lap too. But mate, thanks again for joining us here. I'm really pleased for you to get a good finish and a good finish here tonight. Because your pace certainly warrants it, and good to see you be able to see it through to the end. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Again, just the usual. Thanks to you guys. You're doing really well on the new channel. Thanks to the guys that turn up every Monday night and put on such great racing.
Yeah, fantastic. You're right, mate. It's a great club atmosphere and a great race on a Monday night. So thanks once again for joining us, mate. And hopefully we'll catch you next week.
See you later.
There you go, Tim. I'm just looking. I don't know if you've got the broadcast up, mate, but I'm just looking at you staring back at me in the mirror as I ride on board with Mr. Snell in the replay, and it's a little bit disconcerting, I have to say.
Yeah, I do have it up, and yes, it is quite interesting. As I said, all drivers, so this is an announcement to all drivers, please remove the livery for the next race.
I don't know, mate. It's good. I'm having fun with it. It's all good. All right. We've got two to go. I think our finishing order brings Mr. Hendrickson up. Well, this should be interesting. Hello, Mr. Hendrickson. Alex McKellar and Tim Weber here, mate. Well, let me just find you here. You were a bit further down the order than we were expecting, and a lot less orange and blue tonight.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. It was a special paint I made I put a lot of work into it, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, I could see that, mate. I'm just looking at Tim and me staring back at us in the side mirrors, but yeah, it's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of orange and blue out there, but maybe tell us about the racing. You were in the thick of it throughout. Certainly looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a great fun race. Had a little bit of contact with Tim EG, so sorry about that. Kind of bent my steering too, so I was kind of on the back foot for most of the race. But you know, I was kind of waiting for Bill and Enzo to kill each other, but I kind of killed myself before that.
Yeah, tell us, mate, what happened? I sort of caught it in the background, but I haven't been able to. I should try and grab the replay while we're talking, but sounded like an engine going there, mate. Is that what happened?
Yeah, but I'm still not quite sure how it happened because I didn't, downshift or anything. It's, well, I don't know.
Perhaps it was nose to
It's a
tail the whole
mystery.
race, right? Because I don't know if you've got your engine temps up or what, but I know they can certainly cook an engine nose to tail, and that's what it was the whole race, right?
Yeah, probably, but we'll never know.
That's it. Well, thanks once again for joining us, mate. Really appreciate seeing you out on track, and what a livery, mate. It's spectacular to behold, but I did notice on your suit you still had a bit of orange and blue, so that's good. That's good to see. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, mate?
You guys, of course, for putting on this fantastic broadcast as always.
Mate, we feel well and truly loved after the efforts tonight, so thank you once again, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, guys.
All right, just the one to go with Mr. Ian Bevan joining us now in the commentary booth. Ian, not your night tonight with what looked to be a downshift that took you out of what was a hotly contested race.
This is a stupid game one I don't want to play anymore.
Well, and look at you. You're even sporting the special once-off livery as well, which is good to see.
Yeah.
That, you didn't even manage to get an opportunity to fight back too far, mate. That's a shame after you were right in the thick of it early on.
Oh, look, it happens. I mean, I didn't have the best qualifying, but I think all the top guys are saying that because we always say that, don't we? We always make excuses. But like, fourth place was better than ninth place, but I can't buy any luck in this series. I just start at the back, or I start closer to the front and bang the engine. I've got a little app that I wrote, and it tells me when I've got an engine temperature going up too high, and it actually, on the long straight, on that lap, it warned me. So I actually short shifted a little bit. As I approached the corner, it said, "Hey, your engine temperature is fine." So what do? I downshift too early, and the engine goes bang. So Yeah, it was entirely my own fault.
That's a real shame, mate. But certainly a lot of fun out there. Other than that, of course, in the early stages. But I'll tell you what, this race keeps on giving, and we were certainly treated to some great action. And hopefully, we'll see you back next week and see if you can't get your share. But I'd like to give anyone a shout out to before we let you go.
The engine manufacturer, obviously. Thanks for that choice. No, just you guys. Thanks for doing the broadcasts. I actually won't be around next week. I'm on a family ski holiday, yay! But I'll be back the week after for to hand out my iRacing to anybody who wants to show up.
Well, I'll have to start thinking about renaming Hendo's Bacon and Egg Award to Bevo's Bacon and Egg Award for cooked engines.
Yeah, you're a funny man, and that's what we like about you.
Exactly. All right, mate. Thanks again, and we'll catch you perhaps in a couple of weeks.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, good night.
Well, there you go, Mr. Awema. That's the tail end of what was. Oh, look, I've got to say, quite a spectacular race. Really enjoyed seeing the action up front and throughout, and certainly enjoyed the community's shout out to us in the form of the liveries tonight.
Yeah, it was quite good. I'm surprised they didn't all say, let's all join into the green room on Discord, so we would have been here all night. But they've let that one slide, so that was quite good.
Oh, look, I know I've been trying to sharpen up the interviews, courtesy of some feedback we've got, which I think is pretty valid. But, this is a community event at the end of the day, and if people want to come and interact with us, I'm really pleased to have them on board and really enjoy having people in here, not only wanting to participate, but to join in and interact with us. It's a great time. But speaking of interacting with us, yes, Christian, I can see that one of the key points of the livery we should shout out to, hang on, let me just find the right shot here. Oh, no, it's not that one. It might be this one. You probably can't see on the hat that I'm wearing there. Shout out to our Subaru, Central Coast Subaru, who sponsor the Friday night racing, of course, and they've got a lovely shot of me there sporting my sponsor's product there to help us round out a fun night. But that might do us here tonight, folks. Mr. Awema, the Golden Stick, have you got much on this week to let the viewers at home know about?
Well, hopefully I'm going to try and do a bit of IMSA this week and maybe even get back into a skippy at Donington. So I haven't donned the old skippy for a while, so I might get involved.
Yeah, Donington's a great track. Hopefully it's the national layout. I haven't checked, but I love the national layout and the skippies. In fact,
no, it's the full one.
It's the full one. Well, almost as good.
It's a full one.
It's almost as good. But yeah, thanks to everyone for joining in. I'll be on track this week on Friday and Saturday nights for the Friday Night Race Club, and I might even grab a skippy race. I had one here at Mid-Ohio and was very pleased for the run. So Donington, even more so. Perhaps I'll have a run there, and you can find the Golden Stig at Robius_TV on Twitch, and myself at Top Split TV on Twitch as well. Of course, you can always join us back here next Monday night for the next round 5, I should say, at the aforementioned Donington. And I just want to shout out to everyone who's joined us, not only on track, but at home, watching the broadcast. It means a lot to have you guys join us each week, and it's the reason why we do it. So thank you to everyone for joining in, and until next time, I will say ciao for now.